One question that we get asked a lot at Guru is when you would look to use a hybrid feeder or a method feeder. So what we've done is we've brought you to the beautiful Barston lakes in Solihull, and I'm going to try and give you a few tips on when I'd look to use each one. Right, so we're at our peg. What we're going to do is we're going to break our session down into two halves. And to start with, the fish naturally back away, and then as the session wears on, they naturally come closer. So knowing this, we're going to target two different areas of our pegs in two slightly different ways. But to start off with, I'm going to be having a look to cast a fair old way, and when you're chucking a long way, how your feeder lands is really important. Now, the best thing about a hybrid feeder, when you used to have to fish a long way with a method feeder, actually getting to your bait on the bottom is quite difficult and a bit of an art form. But using this little baby, you needn't worry about that anymore. It will always, no matter how it lands on the water, it's always going to go to the bottom and be in perfect bait presentation. Another thing is the makeup of your pellets. Like some pellets can be very sticky, others can be like quite hard to stick. But again, another thing with this is it almost doesn't matter how your pellets are. You can literally cram them in, smack it out, and it's going to land on the bottom perfect. The other nice thing about this feeder is the way it's designed with the vents and the raised sides with the slits in it. It's going to aid, you know, helping that bait to come out of the feeder. So as soon as one comes in, he's going to be able to suck your hook bait and actually get it out. So my choice when I'm fishing, looking to fish a long way, is the hybrid feeder almost every time. Right, so in the second half of our session, what we're going to do is try and capitalise on feeding fish. Now, one good thing, or one thing that's worth knowing, is the venue that you choose to fish. Here at Barston, it gets fed an awful lot of boilies, and they loose feed a lot. So the fish associate sound and noise with food. So to make the most of that, what we're going to do is we've got a nice big catapult, and we've got some lovely big 8mm pellets. And what we're going to do is we're going to loose feed sort of 8 to 10 pellets twice every 5-6 minutes, depending on how our long line goes. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be building that line up, because later on in the day, as I said, the fish are coming looking for food. So by loose feeding, drawing all them fish in with that noise, keep feeding it and not fishing it, so they get loads of confidence. And then there's two ways that you can fish over loose fed. One is with a single hook bait, but to be honest, you can get a little bit lost out there. But what I like to do is get my little method feeder, because that's when this really comes into its own. So the advantages of a method feeder over a hybrid feeder is, one, you get a bigger spread of bait. Two, you can put a lot more bait on it, and three, it breaks down a lot quicker. So when my method feeder's on the bottom, and I've got my spread of my 8mm pellets all over the peg, all over the bottom, so you can imagine it, they're swimming around, there's a pellet, there's a pellet. They're just so drawn into it. And you can often find that it's so much quicker to get a bite over loose fed when you're fishing with a method feeder rather than a single hook bait. Right, so I've just had my first bite on my hybrid long. And it's been good. I've seen an odd fish topping out long, so I'll just carry on plugging away doing this for a bit. Right, so that's a nice start. First fish, nice F1. Nice start. I'm just starting off on a bright orange bait. A little orange sinking boilie. Like colours work really, really well at Barston and other places, and to be fair, orange a really, really good colour. So another fish long, and the bite time's getting a lot quicker, so it's really, really good signs for that short line. So I'm going to keep loose feeding them pellets, because I think, you know, that's, if anything long to come by, I think we're definitely going to catch a few short where we've been loose feeding them pellets. I think he's bigger than me. I don't think I'm going to hold that up somehow, but we'll have a nice picture afterwards with it. Wow. Right, so we've just put one in the net, and I'm just going to give you a few pointers about how to load your feeder up correctly when you're chucking a long way. And to be honest, it's so easy, you can't get it wrong. But just as a general guide, just get my pellets, put them in my feeder so it's covered, give it a squeeze once, push your thumb in it. So now I've got like an indent in the middle of it where I'm going to lie my hook bait. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to actually push my hook in my pellets. And all that does is ensure that once it's broke down, my hook's below my hook bait. Because the fish is going to come from above it, pick your hook bait out, suck it in, you want the hook in the right way to be able to hook it in the bottom of the mouth. Literally cover it with a few more pellets, give it a squeeze. And then as you can see there, it's just a little bit messy. So all I do, just to tidy it up, give it another squeeze. You can squeeze the life out of it. That's the best thing about it. You cannot over squeeze it. And there you see, it's like nice aerodynamic shape. Again, just aiding with the feeder. Hook length's coming out the bottom really nicely. As easy as that. But a little thing like that, more about positioning your hook bait, definitely get you a few extra bites. So let's smack it out, see if we can catch another one. Right, so as you've seen, we've had a brilliant start on the long hybrid, including that absolute monster, 18 pound. What a lovely fish. But I've been loose feeding that short line and I've seen an odd fish move on it. So to be honest, I can't resist any longer. So what we're going to do is we're going to wind in, change from a hybrid, get our method on, and let's get on that loose fed line and see if we can have a brilliant run of fish. Right, so we're going to have a first look on our loose fed line. We're chucking our method over the top, but literally I'm just going to run you through how I load it up as such. Literally just got a 3-inch hook length, 12 QM1. One thing that I like to do when I'm fishing over loose fed is I like to use 8mm pellet on the hook, just because I'm feeding pellets. If they're on that line, I've been feeding it really aggressively, they're going to be right tuned into eating them. So all I do, a few micros in my mould, not millions, because I want my hook bait at the top. I want them to, you know, get my hook bait really quickly. Lay my hook in, fill it up with my micros, give it a press, give it a nice compression, right hard squeeze. You can never squeeze your pellets too hard. Right hard squeeze, pop it out, just tidy it up, and there she is, ready to cast in. So a great little tip I want to share with you is something that a good friend of mine, Pen Writing, showed me a fair few years ago now. And it's basically doing things backwards. So what you do is instead of casting and feeding, you feed and then cast. And that way you're setting basically the ultimate trap. Any fish that come to that noise, they're going to home straight in on your method feeder, and you definitely get more bites doing it like this. So I'm just going to run it through. So literally a few pellets, feed your pellets, look at where they've landed. Few more pellets, and I'm looking where most of them have landed. It's literally just going to gently plop my method feeder right on the top of them like that, and there we are. Hopefully we've got the perfect trap set now, and it won't be long before it gets dragged in. So what a day we've had here today at Barston. Starting off on that long range hybrid, that 45 gram hybrid. It's such a good feeder, that feeder, because especially when you're fishing a long way, like even the best of casters, you're just guaranteed 100% your bait's on the bottom and you've got your trap set waiting for a bite. And because that was so good, it's given me confidence to be really positive on this short line. Loose feeding them 8mm pellets. And when we've been on it on a method feeder, I mean, it is literally just a bite, a chuck. It's been absolutely awesome. I've loved every minute of it. And obviously we caught that great big un, which, you know, is Barston's known for. Plenty of these sorts of size carp. And there's even a couple of 30-pounders here, so literally when the rod goes round, you never know what it's going to be. But I've had a brilliant time. Obviously, it's still light, so I'm going to carry on fishing. But I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.